Tonight, a 40-year-old man is dead following a motorcycle collision on Canada Day. Also tonight, we'll have more details on the disturbing details from Markus Hicks' guilty plea on dozens of sexual violence charges.
I'm Colleen Connors on the Great Northern Peninsula in St. Anthony, where customers can now purchase freshly picked produce at the grocery store. I'll tell you about this new product.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Peter Cowan. More troubling details have emerged about how a teacher and volleyball coach sexually assaulted young men and boys. Earlier this week, Markus Hicks pleaded guilty to more than 50 of the 200 charges he's facing. Heather Gillis has the details, but first a warning. This story contains disturbing details of sexual abuse.
In this agreed statement of facts, Markus Hicks admits he followed a similar pattern over and over again. In 32 pages, this document outlines what 17 victims, some as young as 15 and 16, told police. CBC News can't identify them because of a publication ban. Some of the victims knew Hicks as a teacher at a St. John's school, but more knew him from coaching or refereeing volleyball. In both cases, Hicks was in a position of power or authority. Victims told police it all started the same way. A social media account, appearing to be a woman, started sending nudes, asking for videos and pictures of the victim's genitals or of them masturbating. Hicks was behind the accounts, commonly using the name Isabella Ricci, Corinne Smith, or Brittany Campbell. Police say Hicks had accounts linked to 24 different usernames. Sometimes victims suspected the account was a bot or a fake. And on at least one occasion, Hicks sent a photo of a woman holding a blank sheet of paper with the victim's name on it to prove it was real. Hicks, posing as the woman, would ask the teens or young men if they wanted oral sex and lured them, in most cases, to this home on Trails End Drive in Paradise. Inside this split-entry home, Hicks had a glory hole set up, a curtain hung over a doorway, held together with clips, with an opening in the middle. He told the victims to put their genitals through and gave them oral sex. Some of the victims returned multiple times. One man said they had anal sex with Hicks through the glory hole and felt violated and deceived when they realized they were not having sex with the woman from the photos. All of the victims say they had consented to sex with the woman they were messaging, not Markus Hicks. In a more troubling incident, Hicks lured a grade 10 student to an elementary school parking lot where he arranged for the boy to meet someone in a car for sex. The victim said the male driver was wearing a ski mask, which terrified them. They exchanged oral sex in a white RAV4 matching the description of Hicks' SUV. However, Hicks only admits that he set up the meeting, but says he wasn't the man wearing the mask or involved in the sex. Two other men say Hicks was impersonating them online and sending sexual photos of them to others. Hicks also lured a friend and colleague to his home, but the man pulled down the curtain and confronted him. Police started investigating Hicks nearly 2 years ago when a concerned parent reported him. Police seized 2 laptops, cell phones, a hard drive, and a USB from Hicks. They found 30 files of confirmed child sexual abuse, 34,000 photos, 11,000 videos of potential child sexual abuse. Police found that Hicks had gone to university in Glasgow, Scotland, and had used pictures of 2 women he knew through volleyball there to dupe the victims. Hicks pleaded guilty on Monday to 54 charges, including sexual assault, child luring, breach of trust, sexual exploitation, and possession of child pornography. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
The body of a missing man has been found on the Northern Peninsula. The RCMP Underwater Recovery Team found the body Tuesday morning. He had gone missing on Sunday night after being thrown from a sea-doo on Gull Pond. A woman was also on the motorcraft. She survived after swimming to shore. Well, in other news, a 40-year-old man from Conception Bay South is dead following a motorcycle collision yesterday morning. It happened eastbound on Pitts Memorial Drive, just east of the Robert E. Howlett Memorial Drive. The RNC says the collision involved a black Dodge Charger and a white and blue Suzuki motorcycle. The man on the motorcycle was pronounced dead in hospital. Police are looking for anyone with information or video footage. While the new MP for Long Range Mountains is settling into her office in Ottawa, but Before Conservative Carol Anstey went into politics, she wrote a faith-based book. CBC's Bernice Hillier has the details.
MP Carol Anstey's book came out in 2019. It's called Called to His Purpose, Exposing Satan's Plan to Destroy Your Destiny. It's Carol Anstey's personal story of coming to believe in God as a born-again Christian. The book begins long before Anstey was elected as the Conservative MP for Long Range Mountains. She writes about growing up in rural Newfoundland, spending some time in Alberta in her 20s, and looking for meaning in her life. Throughout the book, she mentions grappling with alcohol use before finally deciding to cut it out of her life once and for all. She describes pouring bottles and bottles of alcohol down the kitchen sink with her husband. There was an entire block of cupboards packed with an assortment of bottles of alcohol. We were both of the mindset that we no longer wanted anything from our past lives in our home.
I felt that was something that needed to be removed from my life, and faith helped me to do that.
Anstey also writes about a decision to have more children, something she and her husband had differed on. She quotes from the Bible. This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They put their trust in God and accepted authority of their husbands.
I definitely don't have any regrets necessarily with sharing some of those experiences. Again, it makes me who I am. And I think, when it comes to a decision like how many children you're going to have, I think it's something that both my husband and I should decide together.
The book does not mention issues like abortion or same-sex marriage, and Anstey says she has no agenda to change policy in those areas. And Satan isn't mentioned either. Anstey says the title was suggested by her publisher.
I think there was a lot of misunderstandings about what was actually in the subject matter, and I think that probably came from the tagline.
The book has been out of print for several years, but it is available at the public library. To get it, you'll need to join a waiting list. At last count, there were 15 people waiting for the library's single copy. Bernice Hillier, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Well, a hot housing market has buyers doing what they can to sweeten their offers. For some, that means skipping the home inspection. Elizabeth Whitten explains.
Say you're looking to buy a house in this province's hot housing market, but the home you want has dozens of bids being considered. You might be tempted to waive the home inspection to speed up the process. Real estate agent Jerry Boyles says he's seen it.
Oh, I'm certainly dealing with it all the time. I have several on the go right now.
When there's a lot of competition, there's only a few things a buyer can control. They can offer more money, change terms and conditions, and then there is the home inspection. That's meant to catch problems with the home.
There's certain elements of due diligence there that are being skipped as a byproduct of the client's motivation and of the market's craziness.
Home inspector Michael Guillen says he's seen a lot in his 50-plus-year career. Moldy attics, windows falling apart, homes he isn't sure how they're still standing. He says people not getting a home inspection isn't new and can be driven by the market.
In this moment, do you think more people are foregoing it for that reason?
Absolutely, yes.
But he says the bar to become a home inspector is pretty low, and the profession isn't provincially regulated, something he'd like to see change.
It's protection. That's what it's all about. We've said for years that a home inspector or a home inspection is the ultimate form of consumer protection.
Boyles says it's best to try to avoid being in a pinch where you feel you need to go without a home inspection.
But if you can plan to put yourself in a position where you don't have to move, then you're giving yourself the runway, we'll say metaphorically, to be able to make a decision on your own terms.
While Boyles says it's easy for him to say he would never go without a home inspection, people can find themselves in that tough position. Elizabeth Whitten, CBC News, St. John's.
Usually when you pick up some leafy greens on the grocery store shelves, they've made a long journey to get to your table. But a new farm in St. Anthony is changing that. Here now is Colleen Connors explains.
Lettuce, kale, spinach, bright green and bountiful. Would you believe it's all grown in here? Inside this 40-foot shipping container is a hydroponics facility that's been producing fresh greens in St. Anthony since December.
Like, it's the dead of winter and we had to use a heat gun to get our door open, and then we were going out with this fresh product to the stores. Like, it was amazing.
And then we have some Win-Win Choy, which is a new product for us down on the bottom.
Felicia Hillier shows off her hard work. She's been a part of this since the early research days. With help from funding through ACOA and some job creation partnerships, CBC Farms started this 6 months ago. The lettuce and spinach are grown here. Then staff pick and package it, all before sending it out to local nearby grocery stores.
Before we started our farm here, the lettuce quality was not great and prices went really high there. A few years ago, I don't know if you remember, lettuce heads were like $10 a head. But people are so excited to see it there on the shelves, and it's a local product. People support local, and it's so fresh. Like, it lasts weeks in the fridge. Paul Dunphy used to buy romaine lettuce that came from the U.S., but would end up throwing half of it away.
Well, the romaine lettuce and the spinach is the two things that my wife and I enjoy every day, pretty much every day for our lunch as a salad we have, right?
And what's the flavor like?
It's excellent. The flavor is excellent. It's crisp. It's fresh.
For Jillian Mullet, she says the spinach is around the same price as the other options.
It's super good. It's hard to believe that something like that fresh and can come from somewhere like St. Anthony. You know, it's cold weather a lot of the times here, but no, it's super awesome to see something so local on our shelves.
For families who shop here at the Coleman's in St. Anthony or Burden's in St. Leonard-Griquet, it's something to get excited about.
It's hard to believe. Who would have thought 30, 40 years ago that we'd be buying fresh spinach and romaine lettuce in St. Anthony, grown every week, you know, that kind of thing. It's just beyond my imagination.
CBC Farms wants to continue to sell their produce at the grocery stores in this area, but they'd like to expand and have more of their products sold and used in local restaurants. They also hope to continue to try new products that will grow in the months and years to come. Colleen Connors, CBC News, St. Anthony.
Well, two big celebrations merged into one yesterday. In Corner Brook, it wasn't just Canada Day, it was also the day the Canada Games torch came through town.
There's a lot of positive things happening throughout the province. I think the torch relay really signifies that.
Sport is about bringing people together, and the Canada Games in particular, 19 different sports. It's a multi-sport, the largest multi-sport event hosted in our country. And for all these athletes, parents, spectators, performers that we will have, everyone coming together, I think it's a really key time in our country that everyone does come together.
And the fact that Memorial Day overlaps with Canada Day, I think it's a good time to think about, too, what we've contributed to Canada. Canada's lucky to have us, and we're lucky to have Canada.
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Canada's a wonderful place to live, and as an Indigenous person and as a proud Newfoundlander, like I'm comfortable living where I am, and I think Canada just, I don't know, it's just a chance for all communities across Canada to come together and be proud that you're Canadian.
Well, this is my first Canada's Day actually, and I'm here to experience the culture and meet nice people. It's a great weather today as well, and I'm just excited to be here because this is my first Canada's Day.
Keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, certainly had some nice weather for it. Another beautiful day today. As far as the temperatures go anyway, feeling very humid. 23 degrees topped out in St. John's, 27 in Badger. So there's certainly some heat out there, and that is going to continue. And unfortunately, up across Labrador, parts of Labrador anyway, are going to see some cooler air as we head through tomorrow. But we're talking about the chance of some drizzle and fog tonight, the risk of thunderstorms for parts of the province as we head through the day tomorrow. But that summer heat is on, and it is going to continue for the next couple of days. I'll break it all down for you coming up a little later.
Well, before it was Canada Day, it was Memorial Day in this province with ceremonies across Newfoundland and Labrador. In a few minutes, we're going to take you to the commemoration in Pasadena. But first, here's how people remembered in St. John's.
Her Honour, the Honourable Joan Marie Elbert, ONL, Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland and Labrador, and His Honour Carl Thompson, KC, arriving at the National War Memorial, met by Jenna Spoon, First Vice President, the Royal Canadian Legion, Newfoundland Labrador Cadet.
Why is it important for you to be down here for Memorial Day?
Well, I'm an ex-member of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, and I always come down here every July 1st and November 11th because I think it's important to remember these young fellows who lied about their age, because many of them did, and when Beaumont Hamel, over 800 people went over and 68 answered the roll call the next day. It's because of the sacrifices that these young men did, sailors, airmen, soldiers. It's because we are living the life that we have, and we're able to enjoy the luxuries.
I do this every year, and I came here with the Air Force when I was 18 years old, and I was stationed at White Hills. And I got married to a girl here, and her father was Blue Putty. He was number 153, and he was one of the ones that answered the roll call that morning. And after I finished my 20 years, we all came back here, and I got a job, and I'm still here 50 years later. I just like coming down as long as I can. I'm 90 now, and I probably can't do it much longer, but I'm going to do it as long as I can. Yeah.
I am a member of the CIC, the Army Cadet League. So basically, I'm a member of the reserve, and my specialty was into youth. So I've worked with the Army Cadets here in Newfoundland for 35 years.
In your world and in your experience, why is it important for us to host events like this where we remember what went into protecting our country and we let the veterans know that we're here for them? Why is that important?
I've done a lot of traveling around the world and come to realize that we're such a young country and we're relatively new to conflict. So we don't really understand conflict. We've never had it here in Canada. For a long time, Canada has been in a non-combative role with the UN. In Afghanistan, we changed that role to a combative role. And all of a sudden, now it hit us that we actually have soldiers who go off to war, per se, and are dying for others. So it's important that we recognize what we have done in the past worldwide. Here in Canada and Newfoundland, our youth do not understand or appreciate what these soldiers go through in combat. And we have relatives that come back, they're relatively unharmed, but they do suffer. What they've seen is still in their minds, and this concept of what you used to call a shell shock, it's there, and we have to recognize it, and we have to understand it, and we have to appreciate and help them through what they've done to help us to experience what we're experiencing today, our way of life.
Okay, Ashley, I know I'm just filling in on here now, but I'm making a new rule. Whenever the Humidex goes over 30, I'm allowed to wear shorts in the studio. New rule.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That's why I'm wearing a skirt. That's the good thing. It is definitely warm out there, and it is going to continue to be warm out there. Let's take a look at the temperatures right now. So the humidity is still feeling about 24. Temperatures have dropped a little bit down to 19 degrees in St. John's. Badger, though, still 27 degrees, feels like 30, 33 with that Humidex, and even in Gander feels like 30 there. Twillingate, 31 with that Humidex. So get used to it because, like I said, it's going to stick around. Up across Labrador, not a whole lot of humidity to talk about at the moment, but you will eventually start to see some of that humidity move in, but not until we get to the weekend. We saw some showers earlier today, even some thunderstorms for parts of the west coast, but those have since ended, and really not a whole lot of activity tonight, just that fog moving further inland as we head through the overnight. But as far as that muggy meter goes, we are going to continue to see that humid weather Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday. It's going to feel a little muggy. We'll see a little bit of relief for Saturday night into Sunday, and then we'll see that humidity move back in for the beginning of next week, at least for Newfoundland. As far as Labrador goes, nice couple of days where things will feel a little muggy, but that humidity won't return until we get to Saturday and Sunday and even into Monday, where it's going to feel very humid for you. So taking a look at what's going to happen tonight, West Coast, South Coast, Avalon, all looking at that fog moving in tonight. Also the chance of some patchy drizzle in the mix as well. Other than that, not a whole lot of weather through the overnight, just a few showers possible for the north coast of Labrador and parts of Lab West as well. And overall, temperatures will sit for you anyway, for the north and the west of Labrador, you'll be sitting somewhere between 6 to 9 degrees. The rest of the province will sit in the teens tonight, so fairly mild. The exception along the strait, though, you'll hover around 10 degrees. But those winds are going to stick around. Southwesterly or westerly winds somewhere between 30 to as much as 40 kilometers per hour expected to continue tonight. And then as we head into tomorrow, the day will start a little cloudy for most, especially towards the coast. Then it should turn into a mix of sun and cloud into the afternoon. Along the south coast, you're going to hang on to some of that cloud cover, also the chance of some showers. But by the time we get into the afternoon, it does look like some showers will develop through parts of central. Now these showers, and even for Labrador as well, but these are going to come with the risk of some thunderstorms tomorrow. So mainly through central and east a little bit from pretty much noon to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. So if you have any outdoor plans, make sure you keep an eye to the sky tomorrow. And then for Labrador, I do think they might stay a little bit south, the thunderstorm activity anyway, a little south of Lab West, still looking at that potential. Now, as we head towards the supper hour, we'll start to see some of that shower activity and through the overnight further east across the island, and then we'll see that continue pretty much through the overnight, and there's that chance of some showers again for Lab West by the time we get into early Friday morning. Temperatures tomorrow are going to be mild again, mid to upper 20s again, with that risk of thunderstorms in the mix through central, and your Humidex values will be in the 30s tomorrow. Again, south coastal, you're an onshore flow. Those temperatures will be a little on the cool side and hovering in and around the 20-degree mark for the northern peninsula. Then for Labrador, the southeast, still hanging on to some mid to upper 20s tomorrow. A little bit of humidity as well. Same thing for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, but the rest of Labrador, especially towards the coast, only between 10 to 15 degrees tomorrow. So fairly chilly, and even in Lab City, you'll be hovering around the 17-degree mark. Now, temperatures are going to warm up again. We've got a cool down, though, coming for parts of Labrador, certainly with lots of rain on the way as well. I'll get into all of that in the long range.
Thanks, Ashley. It's often overshadowed by sports like hockey, soccer, and baseball, but Softball still has a big following in this province, and one particular tournament is bringing a bit of youthful life right now to a half dozen fields in St. John's. Here now's Terry Roberts reports.
34 teams, more than 500 players. After more than 4 decades, they're still swinging for the fence at the annual Constable William Moss Memorial Softball Tournament. A third generation of ball players are now pitching, hitting, and catching at this annual event. And like their parents and grandparents, they're still having a ball.
You get to be active, you get to go on tournaments, you get to explore a bunch of places, and you get to see your teammates that are laughing at you. My family's just played it all since I was young, and I just enjoy the sport.
And what is it you enjoy about it?
I enjoy winning and just making friends and the memories with it.
It started with just 6 teams in 1980, an effort by the RNC to build a bridge with young people.
It's to break down any perceived barriers that the young people may have about police officers.
Played in memory of a police officer who was killed in the line of duty during a bitter 1959 labor dispute in Badger. The RNC used to organize this tournament, but handed it off to volunteers like this man a quarter century ago.
The purpose of this tournament is participation. There's kids that play in this tournament that will never play in another tournament this summer because they don't make all-star teams. Okay, so we focus on participation more than anything else.
All this action is taking place on city fields, but this is a small town game. Less than 5 of the 34 teams are from St. John's. There's male and female divisions, players from ages 9 to 15. Softball hotbeds like Conception Bay Central are perennial favorites. Some of this province's softball greats are graduates of this tournament. National team members like Sean Cleary, Brad Essicle, Shane Boland. But it's mostly about fun for these players.
I play softball because I enjoy playing with my friends. I play for the fun and work ethic.
Right. What is it you like about the game?
Probably winning. I play softball because all my family played softball and I'm inspired to be like them.
Good pitching is key.
I find you have to talk to yourself and keep yourself occupied and pay attention, and then you'll get it.
But these girls also know that solid defense wins games, especially when a brazen base runner tries to stretch a single into a double. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
He got what was coming to him. In other sports news, when the Newfoundland Regiment hockey team hits the ice this fall, a local teen will be calling the action from the booth. 17-year-old Seth Hyde will be the play-by-play commentator for the regiment games, alongside longtime announcer Brian Rogers. The CBC's Alex Kennedy caught up with Seth Hyde to find out how he's feeling about the new gig.
I mean, words can't describe it. It's something that we never expected. On the way to Starbucks during that cold January afternoon, me and my mom were discussing it in the car. And Mom was saying, Seth, if they ask you to be the color commentator, would you say yes? And I was like, absolutely. If they ask you to be the in-arena host, would you say yes? I was like, absolutely. And Mom was like, Seth, they're not going to ask you to be the announcer, right? And we walked into Starbucks and sat down, and Kenny O'Leary looked at us and he said, Seth, we want you to be the first voice of the Newfoundland Regiment. And Mom started bawling, and ever since then, it's just been it's felt like a dream. It still doesn't feel real. Just an apology to all my friends and family that are watching. We've lied to their faces for 6 months. So a big apology to everybody.
Seth, this is not your first play-by-play gig. Just tell me about the journey. What have you been up to?
Well, it was a bit of a butterfly effect, how I got into this. When I was a young kid, I wasn't the best hockey player. I got to play A, B, C, house league. I was always in that range. And so I knew that I wasn't going to go, to the NHL or anything as a player. So I figured, why not try something else? And I started to get into broadcasting. And then COVID happened and spectators weren't allowed into the building. And they were streaming the games with the Avalon Celtics. Ashley Haley was streaming all the games. And I said, why don't I try that out? Why don't I call down and just give it a shot? Mom said, sure. So I called Steve Power, the president of the Celtics at the time, and he said, come on down and give it a try, and the rest is history.
And just for the record, you started commentating when you were 12, right?
Yes, 12 years old, a couple of weeks before my 13th birthday, actually.
There are new hopes for peace in the Middle East. Hamas says it's studying a Gaza ceasefire deal announced by U.S. President Donald Trump overnight. Trump called it the final proposal and says Israel has already agreed to the terms. The CBC's Tom Perry is in Jerusalem with the latest.
This latest development in a move toward a possible ceasefire in Gaza began last night when Donald Trump went on Truth Social and he posted this. He said, after a long and productive meeting with the Israelis on Gaza, Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize a 60-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. Now, he went on to urge Hamas to accept this deal. He said it will not get better, it will only get worse. Donald Trump will be meeting next week with Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington. This seems like a prelude to that meeting. The U.S. president trying to get Hamas to come to the table. We saw Donald Trump when Israel and Iran were fighting each other. After he bombed Iran, he went in and he got the two sides to agree to a peace. It looks like Donald Trump is trying to do that here in Gaza. Of course, the war in Gaza has been going on a lot longer. A lot more people have been killed. We did see Hamas say that they're looking at this offer. They say that they're open to any deal that leads to a permanent peace in Gaza. But we heard from Benjamin Netanyahu, who said today that his goal remains eradicating, destroying Hamas, and he said on that, Israel is not going back. Now, this is all happening as more than 170 aid groups issued a joint statement yesterday calling on the Israeli government to stop working with this new group, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. This is the group that's been delivering aid in Gaza. It's got 4 distribution sites. There have been scenes of chaos at these sites. Hundreds of people have been killed. So you've got these more than 170 groups saying that this has to end, that they should be allowed to go back in to distribute aid. We heard from a spokesperson for Oxfam in Ramallah. Here's what she had to say.
We're seeing Palestinian civilians being massacred every single day since this new scheme kind of has come to life.
The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has responded. They issued a statement saying, instead of bickering and throwing insults from the sidelines, we would welcome other humanitarian groups to join us and feed the people of Gaza. But of course, humanitarian groups say if they're on the sidelines, it's only because the Israeli government is forcing them to sit there. Tom Perry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Back to news in this province. The leader of the New Democrats says government isn't listening to healthcare workers' concerns. This comes on the heels of last week's news that 5 internal medicine specialists have sent in letters of resignation at St. Clair's Hospital in St. John's. NDP leader Jim Dinn says the mass resignation is further proof government has to pay more attention to those needs.
For them to take this action indicates the fact that they have not been listened to, that their concerns and issues have not been addressed. I go back to trying to think what year it was, when the only 3 years or so ago that we had the announcement that we're going to build a brand new St. Clair's Hospital. And at that time, my comment was, the issue is not it's not about the bricks and mortars. I had spoken to doctors there, and they said the hospital is fine, has to do with the patient load in terms of the number of long-term care beds, people who should be in long-term care facilities. However, what I said at that time, hospital beds, when we talk about hospital beds, we're not just talking about the physical hospital beds, we're talking about the actual resources to make that happen. The people, the nurses, the support staff, the people who take care of the hospital and so on and so on, and the physicians. That was really the issue, and it's about the human resources piece. So I don't go to a hospital for a bed. I go to the hospital. Hopefully I'll have a bed lying, but I'm hoping that there's going to be trained people there to look after me. Mm-hmm. So to me, I think in many ways I think government has dropped the ball or lost sight of the ball, what they should be focused on.
The health minister has promised no gap in service at St. Clair's and that the residency program is going to continue. How confident are you that that is going to happen?
I probably have more confidence in what the doctors are telling me. I'm sorry to say that, but I like no gaps in services. Well, first question: how are you going to promise that? Considering that's the frustrating part. It's easy to say these things. It's easy to make these promises. Quite another to deliver on them. So, what conversations are taking place? Because I'll be quite honest. To get to the stage where you doctors decide en masse to make this decision, it tells me that no one has been listening up to now.
The province's only professional classical theatre company just started their 2025 season in Conception Harbour. The CBC's Maddie Ryan has more from Perchance Theatre's outdoor stage.
These actors and stagehands are raising the roof over their Conception Harbour Theatre, ushering in a brand new season of classic tales told by fresh faces. Perchance Theatre is nestled in the heart of Conception Bay, but it took a long journey to get here.
Well, we feel really blessed. We still remain our connection with Cupid's, and coming here, we've been adopted by Conception Harbour as well. The theatre had to move in 2023, and we were really at sea, and we put out a call on Facebook, and 50 people showed up, including a gentleman with a front-end loader and a flatbed truck. And the whole theatre, was in Cupid's, it was a 3-story structure, came down and moved in 80% of it in one day. And that was people from all over, and Conception Harbour have been coming and embracing us.
The open-air setup was built to look like Shakespeare's Globe Theatre or a wooden ship. That setup means no matter where you sit, you get a perfect view of the stage as well as the rest of the audience.
Well, people love it because you feel like you're part of something when you're here, and you get to be inside the story. The story happens around you.
This summer's programming is underway now, and 4 plays are on the menu. Tempting Providence, Every Brilliant Thing, The Flying Doctor, and a Shakespeare retelling called Good Night Desdemona, Good Morning Juliet.
So we really have an all-star season this year, and we're excited to have our actors take the stage very soon and welcome audiences in. Come out, have a picnic, sit by the ocean, see a show, enjoy your day. Get back to art and nature. That's what we do.
Comedian and actor John Sheehan is one of those all-stars. He's the star of the one-man show Every Brilliant Thing. The play follows the main character's journey through life, loss, and his mother's mental illness.
What's so different about a one-man show? Why did you want to do something like this?
I didn't. I had not thought of it, to be honest with you. Danielle Irvine, artistic director here at Perchance, she messaged me back in February and said that this play was something that she wanted to do, and she felt I was the one to do it. And when she sent it to me, I was very intimidated with the ADHD and everything. I thought, this is 74 pages. There's no way I'm learning this. And somehow I did.
Perchance Theatre's 2025 season runs throughout the summer until August 31st. Maddie Ryan, CBC News, Conception Harbour.
A lot of people got up at sunrise yesterday to be the first in the country to celebrate Canada Day. Unfortunately, at Signal Hill, the sun didn't make an appearance thanks to a thick blanket of fog, but lots of people were there with their Canadian flags and with the threats of Canada becoming a 51st state coming from south of the border. For some, this year felt different. I was there and had a chance to chat with some of the people who showed up.
I was born in St. John's, Newfoundland, moved to Ontario, but I'm back to celebrate Canada Day!
And why specifically was it important to get up bright and early to be here for the sunrise ceremony?
Well, we kind of fell out of bed to go to the washroom. And then you continue on.
With what's going on in the world right now, it really is very special to be here on Canada Day. With the tensions between Canada and the United States, we're still best friends, but we also need to show that we are a country, strong and free.
The people, the hospitality, I'm showing around my friends, and we've had just an amazing chance to see that hospitality specifically in Newfoundland. And when I went to Ontario, they accepted me and showed me their hospitality. So this wholesome, this love that Canada brings is just absolutely unique.
Given what's going on with the big southern neighbor, I think it's important to show our support as a team for Team Canada. We are stronger when we are united, despite our difference. So that's something we should keep in mind.
We're very blessed to be in Canada. On the way up on the shuttle, we were singing "Oh Canada." So we are an amazing province, an amazing country, and this year in particular just means a whole extra bit of love for Canada. So we're very blessed to live in such a beautiful country.
With glowing hearts we see thee.
Well, staying with Canada Day celebrations, someone from this province received a very special honor in Ottawa yesterday.
To receive the insignia of Member of the Order of Canada pour recevoir l'insigne de membre de l'Ordre du Canada, Diantha Ray Edmonds.
Diantha Edmonds is now a member of the Order of Canada. She was recognized for being the first Inuk soprano and for her work in empowering Indigenous voices and reconciliation. Greg Wells, a music producer from Winterton, was also inducted in a separate ceremony on Monday.
She's been a tireless ambassador of the centuries-long traditions of Nunatsiavut musicians and an agent of reconciliation.
Well, we're already looking ahead to the weekend because it's a weekend in July. That means the food fishery and a lot more activities. How are things setting up for the weekend?
Pretty decent, although, you know, it's unsettled. We are going to see the chances of some showers in the mix as well. Maybe the risk of some thunderstorms as well, but let's take a look at what's going on until we get there. So Friday, we've got that shower activity late day for the Avalon, and then by the time those will linger through Friday morning. And then Labrador, you'll see some shower activity through the first part of the day as well. And this will pretty much continue into the evening hours. Now this is where we'll see some the heaviest rain for Labrador around the upper Lake Melville area. We could see the risk of some thunderstorms with this one as well, so definitely keep that in mind if you have any plans. And then for the Avalon, we'll likely see some shower activity continue into the afternoon and evening as well. For, you know, at least the late afternoon and the evening hours, we could see the risk of some thunderstorms as well. Temperatures are going to stay mild. We're talking about temperatures in the 20s, the mid to upper 20s. Certainly much warmer, though, through central, somewhere between 27 and 28 degrees. We're also going to hang on to that humidity. Now, temperatures across Labrador are going to be on the cool side. We will certainly see a drop in temperatures, likely single digits. Only about 12 or 13 degrees for the Upper Lake Melville area, and that will be the case for the North Coast as well. And then as we head into our Saturday, this area of low pressure will stick around. So Saturday morning will start a little wet, especially for the east, and we'll see some showers through central as well. I do think the afternoon should brighten up a little bit, although some shower activity will stick around as we head into the afternoon and evening hours as well. For Labrador, you're looking at some shower activity as well. Generally looking at a fairly decent day until we get to the afternoon or through the evening rather. For Lab West, your temperatures will sit back into the 20s, and we'll see that rebound quite nicely, especially from Friday's temperatures back up to the 20s for the Happy Valley Goose Bay area. And then across the island, temperatures are going to dip. We'll be sitting somewhere between 14 to 17 degrees for central, west coast, northern peninsula, even a little cooler than that. But we should hover around the 20-degree mark for Saturday for St. John's. And again, I do think the sun will peak out at times, but it will be a little bit unsettled. Long-range forecast showing temperatures into the 20s pretty much right through Monday. Sunday at this point looks dry, but Monday we will see the chance of some showers move back in with a temperature around the 20-degree mark. And then for central, your temperatures after Saturday's cool down will rebound back into the mid 20s, even upper 20s possible. And then same thing for the west. And then for Labrador, you're hovering generally around the 20s, a little bit cooler in the west, but overall nice. Our weather photo of the day taken in Upper Gullies. This great photo, some whale watching happening this weekend, and it was a beautiful weekend for it. Thank you to Dawn for that photo. And if you have any weather photos that you'd like to share with us, we'd love to see them. You can share them to my Facebook page, or you can email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
It's not just whales people are watching, it's also the capelin.
Oh yeah, capelin are rolling.
Lots of beaches across the province. People are keeping an eye out and going out to make sure that they collect up as many capelin as they can.
Yeah, nice weather for it.
Yeah.
You don't really get any capelin weather.
Isn't that the old wives' tale that you need to have like the really mawsy, like, you know, it's got to be cold and drizzly and then the capelin come in? Apparently they didn't get the memo.
They didn't get the memo.
Because they've shown up anyway, and much to the delight of people here, because you actually get a nice sunny day. You can go down to the beach, make a little bit of an outing out of it. Yeah, hopefully see some of those whales that they're also in chasing the capelin as well.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we've lucked out this year.
We certainly have.
And that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good night.